Now, I know the movie is still playing in theaters, but I just had to talk about the new TMNT movie. Before I talk about the movie itself, I want to talk about the controversy around it. This movie had controversy all over it when the script was released years ago. Having the Turtles be aliens, having Megan Fox played by April O'Neil, having Shredder be a white guy. Yeah, this film did a lot of ass kissing before it was released. And believe me when I said this, but I had absolutely no faith in it whatsoever. After TMNT was released in theaters, I was hoping for a sequel to that. I mean, it's no masterpiece by any means, but at least it was a decent movie, even despite the problems it had, like having one of the weakest plots I've ever heard in my life. But this movie was just dreadful, at least in terms of its advertising and its trailers. Believe me when I say this, but I have never felt such apathy for a Turtles continuity ever. I even had more faith in the classic cartoon, and I'm not exactly the biggest fan of that show. But anyway, after seeing the movie, at first I had very conflicting thoughts on it, because there was stuff I like and things I absolutely hated. But after thinking about it more, I can safely say that this film sucked. However, it wasn't like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990, where objectively it's not that great, but at least it has a good heart and knows what to do with the Turtles. This one just feels really generic in terms of what it wants to be. Literally, when I watched this movie, I didn't feel like I was getting new Turtles material. Instead, I felt like I was watching rehashed material of the Turtles. Now, before I talk about the whole negative aspects about the film, I want to talk about the positives first. First off, thankfully, the movie is about the Turtles. If you know Michael Bay, you would know that his movies aren't really about the source material. Just look at his Transformers movies. However, since he was producing it, not directing it, I had some level of hope. Unfortunately, a lot of his uh, what should we call them? Uh, Quirks are in this movie. However, I'm going to get to that later. Also, the Turtles' personalities are intact, which is great because honestly, it's better than just seeing shallow cardboard cutouts of themselves. Also, the action was pretty decent. There were some scenes I did like the sliding down the mountain scene, which was easily the best part of the movie, and the fight with Shredder in the Turtles' lair was easily a good fight scene. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the ending fight scene, mostly because it's pretty much the Amazing Spider-Man 1 ending climax, only in the day instead of night. Yeah, way to take inspiration, guys. But that's not the only comparison to the Amazing series I'm going to make in this video. Also, Megan Fox actually tried to do a good April. Yeah, she's not a good actress, and this performance was just as good as Michaela in the first two Transformers movies. At least I think that was her name in those movies, but who cares? But at least I could get the feeling that she was trying in some regard. Also, Vern. He was pretty cool. I mean, I liked him more than his original cartoon counterpart, which I absolutely couldn't stand, but that's besides the point. And now, that's all the positives I had. No, really, that's all the positives I have for this movie. Everything else about this movie either bored me or just pissed me off. First off, here's the stuff that actually didn't make me pissed off, but I just felt I could have been without. First off is Karai. If you're a Turtles fan like me, you would know Karai is Shredder's daughter and a vicious member in the Foot Clan. Unfortunately, you wouldn't get that vibe in this movie. You would get the exact opposite. No, literally, Karai just feels thrown in. She's only there for a few scenes, and after the mountain scene, she's completely forgotten. Way to use an actress, guys. Also, the Foot Clan using guns. Really? Now, I know in the classic cartoon the Foot Soldiers had weapons too, but they were robots, and they were laser guns, not actual guns. I prefer them to be ninjas, but just for the sake of having a militaristic shredder, I'll just live with it. Also, Eric Sachs' plan is really stupid and convoluted. I mentioned that this wasn't going to be the only comparison I would have to the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but here's basically what this plan is. He's going to release a virus that he has to get from the Turtles' blood, so that's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 of Harry wanting Spider-Man's blood. And he's going to release it to the city to actually destroy people, or mutate them or whatever. And he's going to do this for money. That's right, he's going to destroy everyone in the city just for money. There's a bit of a flaw in your plan. If you have a lot of money already, why do you need more of it? I know Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is full of plot holes in that regard, but this is something that's way, way out of the bounds of stupidity for the Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is good at suspension of disbelief, but here I just couldn't buy it. Also, the designs are terrible. I know the designs have been shredded apart. Shredded. Ah, puns. Anyway, I know they've been torn apart by every Turtles fan out there, and I'm not going to complain about them since I find the designs of the Superman Legends anime to be even worse. But let's just say I feel there's way too much stuff on them, and if they're supposed to be stealthy, then why are they so huge? But I think the worst character design is Splinter. When I saw the movie, I literally couldn't help but feel freaked out watching it. It made me feel really unsettled just looking at it. Also, I personally felt that having the Turtles be the quote-unquote saviors of New York was a rather stupid way of looking at the Turtles. I know it was a different angle they went with, but honestly, it's an angle I'm not pleased with. Also, Splinter has no connection to Shredder. One of the greatest things about each Turtles continuity is that Splinter, in some regard, had connections to Shredder, whether it be Splinter being Hamato Yoshi himself or having being the pet rat of Hamato Yoshi and seeing him killed in front of Shredder's eye, in front of Shredder. But instead, it literally has no connection. It's just there because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have to have a fight between Splinter and Shredder at some point. Also, the Turtles are usually shoved to the side. Well, Leo and Donatello are. Raph and Mikey are given the most screen time. Mikey for the first half of the movie, and even all he does is basically just shut out sex jokes. I know Donatello has a crush on April in the new Nickelodeon series, but at least he didn't try to actually make sex jokes out of it. Also, Raph is the main turtle of the second half of the movie, which I felt was really weird. And his character blow up at the end was really, really unnecessary and came out of nowhere. Literally, there was no point to where he was just scared. If you're talking about the scene where he gets caved in by the ceiling in his lair, he was literally tranquilized and knocked out. So when was he scared? It literally came out of nowhere and kind of took me out of the middle of the movie. And also, just like The Amazing Spider-Man, the ending of this movie just felt a little bit clunky. I mean, I'd like to see the turtle there, but at the same time, I just couldn't help but feel a bit awkward watching the ending of the movie. I know it may seem like I'm insignificantly ranting about it, which I am, but you gotta understand that I wasn't really drawn into this movie. TMNT, the 2007 CG movie, kept me more entertained than this. And keep in mind that I stated earlier that I liked that film, despite its flaws. This one, however, just sort of feels very bland and generic. Each Turtles continuity has brought something new to the table, but this one certainly didn't. It just really felt like I was watching several Turtles continuities I've seen before. The only difference is that Splinter and Shredder aren't connected together, at least in terms of their relationship, and really, that's it. Yeah, it's just bland in my opinion. I personally think it's the worst comic book movie of this year. I know The Amazing Spider-Man 2 gets a lot of flack for it, but I'm not going to talk about that movie right now. I'll save that for another review, or at least talk rambling about. Overall, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, unfortunately, doesn't pass to be a movie on its own. Because of the low box office sales of it, it just makes me wonder if the Turtles are even fit for live action and just work better animated, which I personally think they do. But regardless, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the CG 2014 movie, is not that good of a movie. It's painfully mediocre, and hopefully, in just some crazy ass miracle, the sequel, and everything gets sequels nowadays, will be better. This has been Hubikari, and I'm signing off.